In the heart of Milan, Italy in 1995, the final heir to the popular fashion house Gucci throne was shot dead outside of his very own office. It was then the story of the Gucci family running their once family-oriented business came to a screeching halt. Today I'm going to tell the story of Maurizio Gucci and his assassination and the feuds that led to his eventual death. So, who was Maurizio Gucci? Maurizio Gucci was born in 1948 to Rodolfo Gucci. He had a brother named Aldo Gucci, and they ran the business together. It was under Aldo that the business really skyrocketed, and then their father, Guccio Gucci, who was Maurizio's grandfather, he was the one who actually founded the brand. So, Guccio founded the brand, and then Aldo and Rodolfo took over. So, there were two major feuds in the family that kind of led to the downfall of the Gucci family running the business. One being between Aldo and his son Paolo, which I will get into, and then also Maurizio versus kind of the whole rest of the family. And that all started when he met his soon-to-be wife. Her name was Patrizia Reggiani. She came from a kind of lower class family. Her father ran a trucking company, and he met her at a party. And so they met, they started dating, and he took her to meet his father, Rodolfo. And Rodolfo immediately vetoed the idea of him marrying her. He did not like her. He thought that she was just in it for his money. She just wanted his fame. She wanted to be a part of the brand. And he said, if you marry her, I'm going to take you out of my will. So he would have no part in the Gucci franchise whatsoever. And he said, okay, that's fine. I will marry her. I'll go live with her. I will work for her father's trucking company. You can take me out of your will. And so that's what happened. So he worked for Patrizia's father's trucking company for a while. They lived as any normal family, just kind of forgot that he was a part of some big luxury fashion brand, until one day they get a call that his father had fallen very ill and he was not going to survive. And they had the brand had discussed that Maurizio would be the best person to take over. And so Maurizio was very hesitant. He did not want to get back into the business. He wanted to kind of stay distant from his family because, you know, they didn't show up to his wedding, they didn't care for his wife, and he didn't really want to be a part of it. But Patrizia begged Maurizio to go back to the brand and take over and kind of rekindle a relationship with his family. And so in the 1980s, he became the head of Gucci. Due to Patrizia constantly nagging at him. And they became almost kind of business partners, but not due to Maurizio. Maurizio didn't really want it to happen. Patrizia kind of inserted herself into a lot of business situations, and so she became this very control freak, very obsessed with the image of Gucci and the reputation of Gucci. And so anyone that she didn't see fit, family or not family, anyone that she thought was, you know, going to try to corrupt the brand, she wanted them gone. It did not matter who they were, and she was very stern with Maurizio, which kind of led to him being very distant with her, which definitely comes into play. And so there was a point in which Maurizio and Patrizia, they decided that they wanted Paolo, which is Aldo's son, Paolo, Maurizio's cousin. The names get kind of confusing in there, but Paolo is Maurizio's cousin. Patrizia wants Paolo to sell his shares of Gucci to Maurizio and herself. And Paolo laughs in their face, says, absolutely not, you are crazy. Now, while this is all happening, Aldo is in prison for tax fraud. And this is because Aldo turned him in. He tipped off, he tipped someone off. An investigation happened, and he was found guilty of tax fraud, and so he was in prison for a year. And while he was in prison, that was when Paolo sold the shares that they both owned to Patrizia and Maurizio. Sorry, that was my cat. Who, Aldo was extremely upset about this. It kind of created a whole, it created a distance between him and Maurizio. So that was one thing that kind of really split the family apart. So now that Maurizio's father was dead, his mother had passed years prior. His father was dead. They had a rivalry with Aldo and Paolo, and so now it was basically just Maurizio and Patrizia in it for themselves. They were the only ones that had a Gucci name that were still a part of Gucci. So anyways, Patrizia was very strict about that instance in particular. She really did not think that Paolo was a good fit for the brand, and that was kind of why she wanted him to sell his shares to them. So now once they had the shares, the strict business partner persona kind of continued, and Maurizio decided he had had enough, and he was going to divorce Patrizia, which, of course, her being so invested in the brand and caring so deeply about it. I say caring so deeply because it was more about her reputation. She cared so deeply about her reputation now that she was a Gucci. That was why she cared so deeply about it. She was kind of greedy in the end. But he decided to divorce her. He said, I will send you $1.47 million a year. You can live in my New York penthouse with our 2 daughters. But I don't want you to use my name. I don't want you to be a part of this business. We are no longer together. And he had a new woman. Her name was Paula Franco, I believe. I believe it was Franco. I know that it was Paula something. And so they were now together. Patrizia was furious about the whole situation. And this is now leading up to his assassination. So throughout the years, Patrizia had been in contact with this psychic named Pina, and she had saw her on a TV advertisement, got in contact with her, and had kind of done many readings with her throughout the years. And then whenever her divorce happened, she contacted her again, and they became very close, almost like really good friends. And she discovered or asked if Pina knew any hitmen to kill her ex-husband. And Pina did know somebody or a couple people, and so they arranged to pay $200,000, and this man will carry out the murder. His name was Benedetto. Benedetto. His name was Benedetto, or Benedetto. And so he was given Maurizio's routines, where he was going to be, anything that a hitman needs, and he was given those by Patrizia, into which he went to Maurizio's office, not apartment, one morning. As he was going into work, he shot him 4 times, and that killed him. The trial took, I want to say, 2 years to take place. It took 2 years to take place. And in the end, Patrizia, 3 hitmen, and Pina all ended up getting arrested. They were sentenced to 29 years each, and then the man who actually killed Maurizio was sentenced to life. It was super popular within the Italian media, obviously, because this popular fashion house brand had just had an assassination happen. And it got dubbed the Black Widow case, and Patrizia was like the Black Widow. So to this day, it's still one of the most popular assassinations in, I guess, like the fashion industry. In that industry, it's a very popular case. So Patrizia is actually she's out of prison now, but she was in there. Her sentence ended up being reduced to 18 years. And I think she actually still uses the Gucci name. She kind of refuses to give it up, even though she's not technically allowed to use it, but she refers to herself as that, and she's very defensive about the whole thing. Her defense in court was that Pina had tried to sabotage her and set her up and had framed her for putting out a hit. So she said that Pina organized the hit, and she said, if you don't pay me $200,000, I'm gonna frame you for it. And so she said that was her defense, but obviously she was charged as guilty. The assassination of Maurizio Gucci was nothing short of tragic. It was obviously a horrible thing that happened out of jealousy and greed and Patrizia's just selfishness. You're taking away, your daughter's father just because you didn't like something that happened to you. And I mean, in the end, she has lost her rights to the Gucci name, so she doesn't really have anything to say for it other than a criminal record, and she was in prison. But this really just goes to show that no matter the glitz and glamour and everything that you see in the media and, celebrities, business people, there's always things going on under the surface. Nothing's ever perfect. Everybody will have their feuds, everybody will have their arguments, but not all are going to end in violence such as this. This is obviously a very horrible case, but hopefully it kind of serves as a lesson to keep your family close. And it's so easy to work things out, and nothing ever has to resort to violence, especially in situations like this. It's just selfishness and greed, and not having the decency to work things out with a person. But thank you.